G'day folks, it is Duckville here. Welcome to a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm replay cast. Today I have got a PvP, a little bit of change of pace from the normal TVZs we've been having constantly. Thought we'd do something slightly differently here today. Down at the bottom right hand side is our red Protoss player here. From Team Gravity it is Zen. And his opponent towards the top left-hand side is the Blue Protoss here for, well, formerly Team Next, but unfortunately they disbanded a week and a half ago, in fact, not too long. It is KnowMe. So KnowMe, a German Protoss who's been around for quite a while. He actually played back in Brood War, played Protoss of the old days back then when it was, I feel like an old man. There was no worker rally to minerals, and we had no warp gates and blah blah blah. But yeah, that was the interesting days of Protoss in Brood War. But he is certainly a player who has been around for a while. Both of these players are actually in the GM rankings. So on EU, as far as I understand, this replay is from. I mean. They're both from EU countries, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, so let's see how this goes. PvP has been an interesting matchup, of course, with the recent change to Oracle's speed and acceleration and all that kind of thing. It's, of course, it has become a bit of a feature of this particular matchup. Very similarly to the PvZ and the PvT matchup. I am still... I've never been a big Oracle fan. I've always thought it was just a little bit too much of a sort of a weird kind of let's fill in this space where Protoss is lacking something with, you know, a hard-hitting laser beam unit that, I don't know, just personally, I feel like there was no ingenuity that went into that unit in its current Inception. In the original Inception, where it was blocking mineral patches, I thought that was freaking sweet. That was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. That was hard to balance, and of course we do have this current version, and of course the recent change to increase the speed and the acceleration. I do not actually really get that one. I just do not know. But obviously powers above me have had a look and said we need to increase this, and I mean we've seen some skewed sort of win rates in some of the matchups. Of course PvZ has actually been something which has become relatively even from what I've seen, some of those statistics that have been posted, but PvT in particular has become a really skewed matchup, considering that it was a little bit better before, I believe. I can't remember. But either way, PvP has been one that is normally dominated by some of those cheeky units, such as the Oracles. The DTs come out quite a lot as well. The one fun thing about the Oracles is it does allow you to go into Stargate tech and still have detection, unlike Wings of Liberty and obviously the times of when we used to, you know, you would basically have to go robo in PvP. Those days are essentially gone. You don't have to do it anymore. But as we can see, KnowMe is going to scout about, just wanting to make sure that his opponent isn't proxying anything too crazy. In fact, it's interesting to see that he has gone for double zealots there instead of going for the 3 Stalker Rush or anything like that. Originally, he had the 2 gates, but now has chrono boosted out quite a few units here. We're going to have a pair of Zealots and a pair of Stalkers just about to pop out. Meanwhile, for our Red Protoss here, Zen, he's going to have the little bit more, well, slightly more standardized kind of mixture here. With the Zealot, we're going to have a couple of Stalkers, both players playing relatively, I suppose in a way it's a bit more of a defensive sort of posture, but as we can see here, with the extra units that KnowMe is going to have, he's going to push out, and in fact will have a 3rd gateway coming up very soon. With his chrono boost being dumped into that cybernetics core, we will see him put a lot of pressure on his opponent here, and he'll try and see if he can capitalize on this very quick sort of unit rush that he's dumped out a couple of these Zealots here. Of course, the big part of PvP, the unit micro here, as you can see, wow, very nicely done by KnowMe. Actually just diving inside, blocks out the Zealots from getting back home. But we will have a photon overcharge here, and unfortunately no targeting the probe there from Zen, so there is going to be a pylon that's set up inside his main base, and this could get a little bit hectic here for both of these players. Of course, on the opposite side of the mineral line, we can see that Zen has gone for the blink tech, so he is going to be up when it comes to tech very soon. But his opponent is going to be able to put a lot of pressure on these 3 gates back at home. He can warp in a bunch of Stalkers. We'll probably see at least 8 Stalkers on the field before he really commits to this attack once the photon overcharge is over. And he'll have to deal with a few Stalkers that are about to pop out here for Zen. So if Zen can buy himself some time for Blink, then I think he should be okay to hold this. Like, it's not as if suddenly an Immortal is going to blaze its way across the field. It's just not going to happen. But as you can see, the aggression will now start from KnowMe, really pushing in hard. Wants to get some damage done on this mineral line. He does not have any real scouting of what's going on, but now he knows that there are 4 gates, so he'll have to really get some damage done here. Interesting sentry warping. This could be used to block out some of the units of Zen. In fact, it's gonna, I don't know, maybe he will try and go for it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a block trying to catch out one of the Stalkers, but unfortunately a little bit too late. This area, from what I remember, you can't actually fully block it. You need 2 sentries to actually get that done. But the Mothership Core goes down, does drop off a Time Warp before it falls apart. And as you can see, Blink is now being added in by Zen. So nice micro should keep him in a good position here. Takes down one of the sentries on retreat, but then a Stalker as well gets removed from the battlefield. But Zen has regained control of his base. Very nice work from him to just hold out for a little bit. Doesn't overcommit the Stalkers. We saw that they were continually sort of bouncing back and forth between these positions. And Zen wasn't really overcommitting. He wasn't saying, let's just go and brawl in this position here. He's sort of coming back and forth between these positions here. He bought himself some time to get his Blink up, and now as we can see with a pylon across the map here, he is going to be able to come back across and threaten his opponent with Zen ahead a little bit there on the tech with the Blink Stalkers now operational. KnowMe's going to push forwards. He does have an Immortal that is now out. Another one is on the way, and he is getting a Nexus as well. So he is he's sort of moving into a position where he wants to take an economic advantage here. But unfortunately, the simple fact of the matter is that when you do lose those sorts of pushes, it's quite common, especially when a Blink tech is involved, for the Protoss opponent to be pushing back against you. So you need to be prepared. We need to see some good positioning here for KnowMe, and for the most part, he's done quite well with the surrounds there. Unfortunately, with the Zealots at the front, we now see the Blink in from Zen, possibly just going to smash through as much as he can right here, right now. The Mothership Core does go down. We can see the Stalker slowly falling apart. Stalker's blinking away from Zen, and KnowMe's going to hold position for now. He's going to hold this spot. He does certainly need to get some more. Some sentries would be quite helpful, but I mean, it's a real issue to deal with Blink Stalkers because they're just so mobile. But he's going to try and send some Zealots in at the front to tank. Not going to get there in position just yet. He just wants to buy some time. Now this is all reversed from what we saw before, where this time it's actually KnowMe who wants to buy some time to get at least 3 Immortals out. When you're facing up against Blink Stalkers like this, you need a lot of Immortals to make sure that you are blasting them back, because as you can see with some quality micro, the Blinker is going to be very, very adept at moving about, and in fact, he might try and target down. The Mothership Core does very nicely, blinks out of there, takes virtually no damage, and things are, well, Zen has sort of stopped probing for the moment, just sticking on building units, so he's very, very heavily going against this push here. Now the Mothership Core comes through, does drop down a couple more Time Warps, allowing Zen to take some time shooting down not only the Immortal, but also getting a lot of damage done on that Nexus as well. It's very, very close to death. Just a few more salvos from these Stalkers and we should be done with that Nexus. But the Mothership Core Time Warp that was laid down earlier is really helping out Zen here as he continually blinks back and forth, trying to snipe out units, keep these damaged Stalkers at the back so that they don't take the brunt of the fire. And looks as if he will just clear out this Nexus. He's going to head back for a little bit. Now, this is normally a point where you have to make a decision. Do I try and commit in? Do I try and go up a ramp into a position that is heavily fortified by a couple of Immortals? Or do I try and just head back home, maybe look at what's going on, at least maybe contain my opponent for a short time, build up a Nexus, and try and get myself an economic lead? Because that's sort of the position we're in, because there's no... You wouldn't really think there's a good way for Zen to be able to go up this ramp. There's a little bit too much power. The Stalkers and the Immortals both do bonus damage to armored units, and that's basically all that Zen has at this point. So he is going to just try and lock his opponent out. We've got one sentry here to lay down a force field every now and then. KnowMe can see what is going on, so he knows that he's going to be locked down for a short time. But there's really not much he can do about that at the moment. But the one thing that is going for him is that he knows his opponent does not have a natural base. So Zen is not really going too far into like I suppose the latest sort of position right now. In fact, he will head down now and grab his natural Nexus. A few units will battle back and forth at the bottom of the ramp here for KnowMe's main base, but with the Nexus going up, KnowMe will realize, alright, he is going to try and go economic here. We're not going for a full all-on push, and now he actually busts out. No force fields there from Zen. Unfortunately did not have a sentry there with energy and time. As we can see, this one was very close to it, but unfortunately did not have enough energy, and now we are going to get a little bit of a interesting positional play here from KnowMe. He does have the power of those immortals. He needs to try and target down those stalkers as best as he can. And Zen, well, at this point for him, he's going to want to try and just, again, this is sort of this weird back and forth sort of I need to buy time kind of thing that happens in PvP, is that Zen is going to try and just make his position do a little bit of make his opponent do a little bit of runaround. As we can see, he's going to try and continually come back and forth and threaten to dive inside the main base because he has all these stalkers. They are very, very mobile. As we can see, he can just run from position to position, and in fact, that stalker is extremely lucky. Holy cow. One more blast, and that would have been a dead stalker. But, whoop, not setting a trap there at all, but as you can see, wants to keep those immortals alive. That is basically why we have KnowMe still in this game at the moment. He's keeping these immortals up and running for the time being. Looks as if we will also get a Nexus coming out from him, and over on the other side of the map, Zen is going to go for his charge tech now. So he's looking to head towards in what I would assume would be a little bit more of the standard sort of tech where you get some, you normally go for Archons and Immortals in this particular matchup these days. That's what we do commonly see. It's not always what we see, but it's commonly what we see. As Zen looks to continue to give his opponent a run around. The three Stalkers slightly exposed, the three Immortals slightly exposed there. But he does force him out for the time being. The Immortal's now going to work on some of those Stalkers here. Not sure about that there from Zen. He's forced to back off. He will take out a Stalker on the way out. Now he's going for another Immortal off to the side. The Hardened Shield activating, absorbing quite a lot of those shots. The Sentry is also there, shooting its Tickle Beam at the Stalkers, but they do blink away from now. And I think, yeah, this is a part where KnowMe is just going to say, let's do this, buddy, because he is now heading across the map. Zen, of course, has these very mobile Stalkers out, and he is pushing across to see what damage he can get done and if his opponent's base is exposed. But as you can see, the natural is not even up here. He can either force a cancel or just destroy this Nexus, and in fact, it doesn't cancel. So we are going to have KnowMe pushing forwards in what should be an interesting base race here, as there are quite a few Zealots here as well. They do not have their charge just yet, mere seconds before that upgrade is able to finish, and Zen backs off and says, no, we're not having this fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Zen diving inside, taking out an Immortal, getting the rest of these Stalkers as well. Should be able to finish the rest of this off, you would think, at least for now. Will any of the units be coming back? It looks as if KnowMe is really committed to this this fight here. He's going to send his Stalkers back home. They're much faster than the Immortals, and he is now going to try and push in. But again, very well prepared is Zen with the force field on the top of the ramp. But now we can see the Robo going down. Zen with just 7 Stalkers in here should be able to get a lot of damage done. In fact, more Stalkers now coming across, bringing it to a total of 11. And I don't think that these Immortals and the Sentries are going to be able to cut it, despite having, you know, some powerful shots in these Immortals. They are going to have a hard time dealing with the Zealots, and there is a force field wonderfully done by Zen. Time warps on both sides of the ramp here, and that, in fact, should be it. Probes coming out from Zen. He says, let's do this properly. Brings down the probes, and that is going to be the end of the Immortals. Meanwhile, the Stalker's going down for KnowMe, and that will be it. Taps out. GG. As Zen from Team Gravity takes down KnowMe. Hope you all enjoyed the match. Please feel free to share and post on your social networking stuff. I'll catch you all next time. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units, and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really, really nicely there. And for Minigun, he's been sticking with a much more